This is the end of the beginning. Welcome to today's show. If you saw my previous videos about Hurricane Idalia, which a lot of people have seen the footage and some people are not making a big deal about it and others are, but it's important to note that when I covered this earlier in the week, I was talking about these articles that were out there talking about a direct hit on St. Petersburg, and it wasn't a coincidence that Spectrum, the company Spectrum, which at one point was owned by Paul Allen, who, of course, for those of you that don't know, Paul Allen was a co-founder of Microsoft with this guy named Bill Gates. Okay, and Spectrum is a company, Paul Allen has since passed, but Spectrum is a company that is going to be bringing in smart cities. And St. Petersburg, while a lot of people aren't making a huge deal about it, they got exactly what they wanted. They told you it was going to be a direct hit in that specific location, and it was a direct hit as far as flooding it out. They don't need to burn it down. They don't need to make a big deal about these things the way that they do with other stories. They just can say, well, it's a hurricane, because people are so desensitized to it and people aren't going to blame anyone for it. That they're just going to be like, oh, Florida got hit with another hurricane, no big deal. But they're going to continue to use the weather to target specific locations that they want to flood out. By flooding out St. Petersburg, you're doing exactly what's needed to create smart cities. You're updating the infrastructure. You're tearing down what's there and rebuilding. You're also running out people who live there. You're flooding their homes that they're never going to get back. They're never going to get insurance on those homes. They're forced out of those areas like we saw in Louisiana with Katrina. And small business owners, all their products for the most part are ruined because the flood rose. In some places, 9 feet, 5 feet to 9 feet, which is more than enough to flood a store, to make the store completely unusable, to make the products in the store completely worthless, to flood those things out and even have them just flooding down the road. In some cases, some of the stores with products in it, you can see the products just flooding down the road, just like we saw a lot of people on canoes going down the road. So St. Petersburg was hit, direct hit, weapon used perfectly. Here's a look at what happened in St. Petersburg in the aftermath. And of course, it's not a big deal. Again, it's not a big deal to these people. Most people who hear these stories, they're more interested in the stuff with Trump and Biden, and they don't realize that they're using the weather to flood these people out until it actually happens to them. When it happens to them, then they'll be bothered by it. Look at the poor people over in Maui. No one's making a big deal about it except some of us here on YouTube and some people on Twitter or TikTok or wherever who are showing what's actually occurred over there. But the government and the mainstream media in America don't talk about it. Why? Because they don't want you to become suspicious about it. Just like with these hurricanes, they desensitize everybody to the fact that, oh, hurricane. Now people aren't even fazed by hurricanes anymore. Like, oh, another hurricane in Florida? Oh, haven't heard that before. And they don't blink. And then you show them stuff like, yeah, that doesn't look as crazy as what happened previous years or what happened in Katrina. So then they just are like, oh, it wasn't as bad as it looked. Well, it doesn't need to be bad visually to you. You know, you could say, well, I've seen flooding before, so what's the big deal? Flooding up to a stop sign? The whole point is that they're using this to flood these zones out, flood these areas out so that they can rebuild the infrastructure. Take a look at the flooding in St. Petersburg.
We've got some breaking news out of St. Petersburg, Florida. That's just about half an hour's drive from Tampa. Officials now say that their fire team has rescued more than 75 people. Remember, the warning was if you're in one of those zones that was prone to flooding, get out, but not everybody does. So those 75 people were from areas, obviously, with the most severe flooding. The government shared this video on Twitter of emergency officials moving through floodwaters in a boat as the rain pours down around them, risking their own safety to bring others to safety.
Making landfall this morning on Florida's west coast as a dangerous Category 3 storm.
We're going to go to video now already of the high winds that we're seeing, the strong surge to the state. Here is a look at the severe flooding we're seeing in St. Petersburg. A state of emergency has been declared there. Warnings are in place and evacuation orders issued, which at this point really is too late if you're already in that storm.
Guys, and we just got a breaking email from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office that the bridges to most of these barrier islands are closed. And guess what? We're going to show you why right here. This flooding, this road is virtually impassable. And I'm going to have Todd zoom up there. Okay, we have a car. Yeah, that's what's happening. So this car up here, it's an SUV. They tried to drive through this road and they got stuck, and we aren't quite sure if they can't back up or what. And at first their lights kept going on and off, and now we're hearing the horn honking. So I'm guessing the water is impacting their car. It kind of seems like the car is going haywire because we can hear it honking. The lights are turning on and off, especially they're alternating which lights turning on and off. Here's the issue. We just saw Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. They were at the St. Pete Beach area, and they actually all had to go. They had to come on this side because they said it's no longer safe. The water had come up too high. And they also said they're now starting to get a lot of calls for people wanting rescued because the water's coming up too fast. And they're having to tell these people, we can't come right now because the conditions aren't safe. This area is under a mandatory evacuation, and this is why. And it's probably going to get worse. It's projected this area could get 4 to 6 feet storm surge, and that's not going to happen until tomorrow around high tide, which is scheduled around 11:30 in the morning. That's a few hours. I keep saying tomorrow. I'm so sorry. It's a few hours from now. The problem is this water, it's already prone to flooding here, and that's why they're saying widespread coastal flooding, because this water has not gone anywhere. People are walking through here. It's up to your waist. And seeing this car, I mean, it's hard to see because they're stuck there, but this is why you don't drive through this. I'm going to send it back to you guys. Yeah.
So again, like that article said, St. Petersburg looking like a direct hit. It's all in the wording of these articles. They program you this way. They're telling you that they were a direct hit, right? People are like, oh, a direct hit because they can forecast the weather and exactly where it's going to go, even though a lot of the times they're wrong. They tell you you're going to get a blizzard and you're not. They tell you that this is going to be a Category 4 and it wasn't, but it still did the job. The whole purpose and the whole job of it was to hit the area and flood it the best they can, and then to hit it with the rising tides afterward, the storm surge afterwards, which again is something that really floods it out. But if people don't see places on fire, if they don't see chaos going on in the streets, and again, even something like this, if it happened in your own town, you'd be like, whoa, what is going on? Flooding down the road. But when you see it on TV, people just go, what's the big deal? So they're able to do what they want with these control weather patterns to bring in what they want, right? Because the people weren't going to go along with these smart cities. And again, for people that don't know, listen to some of the stuff that Spectrum has put out there in the past. And they talk about 5G and they're like, eventually when we get 5G, well, now they have 6G rolling in. But they talk about how everything in these cities has to be connected. And the only way they're going to be connected is if the infrastructure is completely destroyed and rebuilt. You know, they're not going to go into some old building that was made in the 1950s and be able to make it Wi-Fi compatible without tearing everything down. So they do it this way. They wipe it all out. They call it bagel lightning in a sense, in some cases, right? Because for them, the insurance will cover the rebuild of the structures of the apartment buildings, et cetera. And of course, these things will all be handed over to the government when the government will implement these smart cities. And the whole plan is to, again, recreate the infrastructure. So listen to them talking about this is Spectrum. This is the company that, Paul Allen once was the owner of. I'm not sure if he was the creator, but he was on the ground floor, also known as Charter Communications. And of course, this is another thing tied to Bill Gates, conveniently. Take a look at what the plans are here.
At Spectrum, a smart city leverages technology and the Spectrum network to allow data collected from the sensors to be analyzed in near real time for the benefit of the city, the citizens, and all whom visit. Imagine all of this information at your fingertips. Spectrum Smart Cities is excited to announce the release of our greatest tool yet, Spectrum IoT Insights. Every city has the potential to be a smart city. There are 4 key components when planning your smart city. Leveraging the Spectrum network that can support any smart city project, connecting devices and sensors to the network to allow for data collection, a platform to ingest the data, allowing for analytics on a single pane of glass, using both historical and real-time inputs, and interfaces to allow for data visualization on any device. While every component is key to the smart city success, a data analytics platform is what makes a city smart. Cities are using the collected data to assist with improving city services, focusing on transit, transportation and Vision Zero initiatives, updating city infrastructure, or keeping citizens safe. Regardless of the initiative, analytics is at the heart of any smart city. Spectrum IoT Insights is deployed to all Spectrum Smart City engagements and provides data flexibility to customize your view, import historical, and integrate multiple disparate sources. Every Spectrum Smart City is a collaboration between Spectrum, our partners, and you. Contact us directly to continue the conversation about tangible benefits for your city at spectrumsmartcities.com.
So the key things to look at are how everything's connected, of course, and the infrastructure, right? Updating the infrastructure. Well, how are they going to update the infrastructure? If a guy who owns a shoe shop in the 1950s passed it on to his son, and his son now owns that shoe shop, and maybe he does more than just sell shoes, he, or whatever, he cleans shoes, repairs shoes, etc. Just say a business that doesn't need to be Wi-Fi compatible. Well, they don't want that there. Because again, everything inside of the smart city is going to be controlled and run by technology. Remember, AI governance is the key, right? That's what we constantly hear about. And then you see these articles out there, like I covered with Spectrum. Here's one from last year, March of 2022. Smart City Showcase highlights innovative problem solving in St. Pete. And this mayor's out there doing interviews about, the rebuild, of course, build back better. These people all have their hand in it. They know what's going on. So this even talks about in St. Petersburg, innovation districts, leadership members of academia, local government, nonprofit organizations, and the private sector are utilizing new tech to help solve the city's challenges. Listen to this quote. This is a quote on smart cities. Quote, "At the heart of all our work has been the principle that we're not doing this for the sake of technology, but because we want to solve problems and we want to enhance lives of people in the community." This is how the smart cities are being marketed. This is how the mark of the beast is going to be marketed to people. Oh, your health. This is for you and your long-term health and the community and love. All these words with background music that sounds like, oh, it sounds so great and so neat and so cool. It's all a deception. This is not for the sake of solving problems. This is the creation of problems. In their mind, these smart cities are a utopia. And that's how they've marketed this to Democrats. Oh, it's a utopian society. You're never going to change human beings and their instincts. There's always going to be wicked people. So all you're doing is just trapping, and really in this case, if we're going to have Democrats trapped in these smart cities, if they're the only ones who are going to comply to it, you're trapping the most insane people into the smart city. You're actually putting in narcissists and psychopaths, okay? And what they think is going to be utopia. Then all of a sudden, when they don't have the finger pointed at conservatives, then they're going to start pointing the finger at one another because they're going to find something to fight about. You haven't noticed the pattern of behavior with a lot of these lunatics is that nothing's ever good enough. They're never happy. They actually still think in their minds that they're oppressed, when we all can see who's oppressed in this society, anyone with eyes. These people can say what they want, they can dress how they want, and if they have a certain sexual preference, they automatically will get hired. If they don't get hired, they can sue and automatically win. Everything defaults in their favor. And then when it comes to people like us, we don't even have the freedom of speech anymore, let alone, going into a job, trying to get, interviewing for a job, saying you're a Christian, forget about it. You'll automatically be thrown out. They'll look at you and be like, well, we're going to end this interview a little bit short, right? But you could discriminate against people like us. You could take away our rights, but not theirs. So trapping them in the smart cities, they're like, oh yeah, it's going to be great. It's for the betterment of humanity. It's going to solve problems. It's going to enhance lives. Then they're all going to be stuck in there, turning on one another. It's going to be utter chaos. It's going to be more chaotic than, stuff you see on these shows that show like real prison fights and things that occur in prison and life in prison. That's what it's going to be like. So they've been talking about the implementation of these smart cities. Obviously, we all know about Maui. People are finally catching on to this, which makes me happy that people are finally catching on to this, which makes me, wake up and say, I got to keep going and keep pushing forward. Because when I started this a couple years ago, people didn't even understand the stuff. A lot of people don't understand any of the stuff with the carbon. I mean, they're just like, oh, they just want to get, us into the, they're going to make money and profit off of green energy. That's why they're doing this and sabotaging it. They don't realize that it's enslavement. And people need to get aware of that. I know, like, talking about climate, it's kind of a boring topic in a sense. People are more excited talking about other stuff. If I cover stuff like music videos that are covered in gore, the devil worship, people see more interest in that. But this is the enslavement system. This is the New World Order. It's all behind the boogeyman of climate change and weather manipulation. That's what they're doing. That's what they're using against their own citizens all around the earth at this moment. So it might be a little bit of a boring topic, but people need to catch on. But more people are catching on to the smart city implementation. Now they need to start realizing that these corporations and these companies have been working with these cities, and they need to destroy the infrastructures to bring these in. You can't just put up smart, people are like, oh, they're already in there. Why would they wipe out St. Petersburg? They have smart lights. Well, they've done experiments with the smart lighting and the smart, we all know what the experiment with the smart purple street lights was. I've covered that over and over again. All that's obviously been scrubbed because, all those channels from that other YouTuber are gone, but they've been running experiments with smart city technology. Okay, now they need to implement the infrastructure. I mean, you've even seen the experiments done with the Amazon Go stores, right? What did you think that all of a sudden was the Amazon Go stores went out of business? There's a lot of them just shut down, that they're not going to use that technology. If you don't remember the Amazon Go stores, you'd walk in, you'd be under full surveillance. Just take a look. Here's the video clip of what that looked like, because this is exactly how smart cities are going to operate.
At this Amazon Go grocery store, there are familiar sights and sounds missing. No checkout lines, no reaching for your wallet.
Instead, you scan your Amazon Go app as you enter the store, and the cameras up above and weight sensors in the shelves. You can pick up anything you want and just walk out.
Then your Amazon account is charged.
You walk in and then you just pick up stuff and you walk out.
It was kind of weird to look up and see like the sensors.
There's a produce section, but no scales here. Instead of your typical grocery store, which sells your fruits and veggies by the pound, this one sells by the item.
So how do the prices compare to a nearby grocery store? A bottle of Heinz ketchup at Amazon Go is 30 cents cheaper. A pack of LaCroix, $1.50 less. And Tide detergent, a savings of more than $3.
It really remains to be seen whether the technology is good enough to supplant cashiers in those larger environments.
That doesn't sit well with a major labor union firing back and calling Amazon a clear and present danger to millions of good jobs. The retail giant says it's both incorrect and misleading to suggest that Amazon destroys jobs, adding that its jobs come with great compensation and benefits. Retail analysts expect to eventually see this checkout-less technology at Whole Foods, owned by Amazon, and 7-Eleven is already testing a similar concept at its Texas headquarters. This as more stores cash in on a cashier-free future. Jolene Kent, NBC News, Seattle.
So inside of these smart cities, you'll have stores like that, but they started shutting those down. Why? Because it's not going to be called an Amazon Go store. All the stores are going to be like that. You're going to walk in and walk out. Okay, you're going to be the thing that gets scanned. Everything's going to be in your body. Your ID, your wallet, your passport, everything. Your status as far as magic potions, everything will be in you in your genetic code. That's just why they want to alter that, which I can't talk about here on YouTube. I talk about that over on the website, uprisingrevival.com. Because I can't talk about it here. People are like, you're just doing it over there instead of here because you want to make money. You know, $2.99, I'm really making money. $2.99 is to keep trolls out and to keep the website actually running and functioning so I can upload an unlimited amount of content over there. Okay? I'll guarantee you if I discuss those things here that I will be thrown off. And another YouTuber I know has made so many channels that it's so time consuming to do it that it just is stuff that has to be talked about over there. So again, it's about you being connected to the city being able to monitor you. Surveillance is 24/7. It's 1984. Okay? So now the people are waking up to the smart city. They have to realize it's AI governance. And this does direct right back to the World Economic Forum and all of these people. But remember, all the world leaders who are in place are all in bed with the World Economic Forum. Donald Trump's been there. You didn't see him there going against the globalists, right? But of course, everyone will believe that he's not. Oh yeah, he was only the guy who rolled in the mandates and all that other stuff in the beginning, at least with the diapers on the face. So again, that's other stuff for the website. But we know that this is what they need to implement. So again, remember this when it comes to smart cities. They can't just go, hey, we're going to make a smart city in Houston. We're going to make a smart city here. They have to destroy it. So these are the ways that they're going to destroy it. They're going to destroy the infrastructure, whether it's through weaponized weather or whether it's through chaotic crime that's being allowed and enabled by our government. These are agents, and then other people are just being provoked into doing and committing crimes because the media is telling them they can get away with it. So it's destroying the infrastructure, allowing the homeless people to run amok, right? Allowing them to put tents up on streets so that business owners' businesses fail and people who live there want to leave. Done by design. So they're using all these different methods, including even we saw in San Francisco, Philadelphia, people are injecting themselves in the streets. This would never be allowed in any time period in the history of humanity. That we're allowing these people. The cops will come and arrest the person. They're doing it right in front of kids, right in front of families. They're letting it happen. They're destroying infrastructure every way they can so they can bring in their AI governance. So St. Petersburg was a target. They told you it was a target, and then they hit it because that's how they work. Reminder again, check out their website, uprisingrevival.com if you haven't yet. Very important you do so. At the very least, make sure you click on free videos. And my other channels are linked below. Please subscribe to those now. It's very important that you do that if you haven't yet. I need more people over on those channels so that those channels can grow and build out. And again, so we don't lose touch with one another, if you like this content and you enjoy watching it every day, because I upload pretty much every single day, definitely make sure you sub to those channels, because a strike, I won't be able to upload for 2 weeks, and then one more and I'll be gone. So you'll lose touch with me, which has happened over and over again to another YouTuber I know. So we don't want that to happen again. So please sub to the other channels now. I thank you guys for your support. Prayers for everybody out there affected by these floods, just like prayers for everybody in Maui who's still dealing, and everybody who's suffering from their direct energy weapons and their weather manipulation. It's just absolutely insane, and it's coming to a town near you, even possibly your town. So be ready, be prepared, and know what's going on. I thank you guys. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always and your families.